The Great Hall of the Galactic Federation buzzed with voices from 47 different worlds. Aliens of every shape and size filled the massive chamber on Zentari Prime. Some walked on two legs like the tall X-skinned Zentari. Others crawled on multiple limbs or floated in special tanks filled with glowing liquid. Ambassador Crix stood behind the speaking platform. His forearms moved as he talked, while his three eyes scanned the crowd. The Vorthok diplomat was old, even by his species. Long lifespan. He had served the Federation for over 200 years. "My fellow beings," Crix said, his voice carrying across the hall through translation devices. "Today we discuss the old stories again. Some of our younger members still believe in the myth of humans." Laughter filled the chamber. The sound came from creatures who breathed air, those who lived in water, and even the energy beings who communicated through light patterns. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat in the visitor section, trying to look calm. She appeared to be a Zentari researcher. Thanks to advanced disguise technology, her real skin was hidden under a blue synthetic layer. Contact lenses made her brown eyes look like the golden eyes of her adopted species. Even her hair was covered by realistic Zentari head tendrils. Alina had been living on this world for 2 years. She was a xenarchaeologist from Earth sent to study alien civilization before humanity revealed itself to the galaxy. Every day she learned more about the Federation and its people. What surprised her most was how completely they had forgotten about humans. "The ancient texts speak of impossible beings," Crix continued. "They called them Earthlings, or humans. These stories claim they came from a world called Terra, or Earth, in the outer rim of the galaxy." Dr. Veltum, a short, round Cronin scientist, raised one of his 6 hands. "Ambassador Crix, surely these are just children's stories. No species could have the abilities described in those old books." "Exactly my point," Crix replied. "The legends say humans could survive in any environment. They could hold their breath underwater for many minutes. They could work in heat that would kill a Zentari, or cold that would freeze a Vorthok solid." More laughter echoed through the hall. Lena bit her tongue to stay quiet. She had spent 6 months underwater on Kepler 438b studying ancient ruins. The water world's temperature would indeed freeze most Vortex. "But the most ridiculous claim," Crix said, waving all 4 arms for emphasis, "is something called pack bonding. The myths say humans could make friends with any creature, even deadly predators. They supposedly treated their war machines like family members and formed emotional connections with species that wanted to eat them." A young Zentari council member named Kilray stood up. "What if the stories are true? What if humans really existed?" The hall fell silent for a moment. Then Crix laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Young Kilray, you have much to learn. No species could be so adaptable. Evolution does not work that way. A creature built for one environment cannot survive in all environments. And this pack bonding nonsense goes against every law of biology we know. Besides," added General Mockrell, the Federation's top military leader, "if such a dangerous species existed, we would have found them by now. Our exploration ships have mapped the entire galaxy. There is no world called Earth in our databases." Alina almost smiled at that comment. Earth was very much in their databases, but listed as a dead world in the Outer Rim. Human ships had been carefully altering Federation records for decades, making sure their home planet stayed hidden. The debate continued for hours. Some younger aliens seemed interested in the human myths. They asked about the old stories and wondered if they might be historical records instead of fairy tales. But the older, more powerful members of the Federation dismissed every question. "Consider the tactical implications," said Dr. Yixbal, a Cronin military scientist. "The myths claim humans were excellent warriors. They supposedly used something called persistence hunting, chasing prey for days without stopping. They also had pack tactics that let small groups defeat much larger enemies." "Impossible," General Mokroll declared. "Our computer models show that such hunting methods waste too much energy. And pack tactics only work for simple-minded creatures. Intelligent beings fight as individuals or in rigid formations." Elena remembered her brother Jake, who was leading the human fleet at that very moment. Jake had been a persistence hunter. Before joining the Earth Defense Force, he once tracked a wounded bear for 3 days through the Rocky Mountains to make sure it didn't suffer. The Federation's computer models clearly didn't understand human endurance. As the session ended, Alina made her way through the crowd. She needed to send a message to the human fleet. They were waiting beyond the galactic rim for her signal. Captain Jake Sullivan commanded over 2,000 ships, but they would not act until Alina confirmed the Federation's intentions. She found a quiet communication booth and activated her hidden transmitter. The device looked like a standard Centauri datapad, but it could reach Earth's deep space network. "This is Agent Rodriguez," she whispered in English. "The Federation still considers us mythology. They have no idea we're real. Recommend proceeding with Contact Protocol 7. The response came quickly. "Understood, Elena. Admiral Carter says the fleet is ready. Jake wants to know if you're safe. I'm fine. My cover is solid, but we need to move soon. Thomas." Some of the younger aliens are getting curious about the human stories. If they start investigating the old records too closely, they might figure out the truth. Copy that. Fleet Command estimates 12 hours to reach Federation space. Prepare for extraction if needed. Alina turned off the transmitter and made her way back to her small apartment in the research district. As she walked through the alien city, she thought about how much the galaxy was about to change. The Federation believed they ruled a peaceful galaxy of advanced civilizations. They thought they knew everything about the history of their worlds, but they had forgotten the most important lesson from their own ancient books. Sometimes myths come back to life. Far beyond the edge of known space, Captain Jake Sullivan stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance. The massive ship was the flagship of humanity's return to the stars. Round it, thousands of other vessels waited in perfect formation. "Any word from Alina?" Jake asked his communications officer. "Message received 10 minutes ago, sir. She confirms the Federation still doesn't believe we exist. They think humans are just old stories." Jake smiled. His sister had always been good at hiding in plain sight. "What's the status of our other agents? All embedded operatives report success," replied Commander Amy Foster.
8.
"We have people working in Federation research centers, military bases, and government offices on 37 worlds. None of them have been discovered." Morel. Lisa Carter walked onto the bridge. She was the overall commander of the operation, while Jake handled the tactical details. "The time has come," she announced. "Humanity has been patient long enough. We've studied their culture, learned their languages, and prepared for this day. It's time to show the galaxy that Earthlings are not myths." "Fleet status?" Jake asked. "Ships report ready," Foster answered. "The Thunderbolt has Colonel Pete Hammond's ground forces prepared for any situation. Our diplomatic vessels are loaded with cultural exchange materials, and our research ships carry enough proof of human achievement to convince even the most skeptical alien." Far away on Centauri Prime, Alina felt a strange sensation. It was something humans called intuition, though aliens didn't have a word for it. She looked up at the night sky through her apartment window. Somewhere out there, her brother and 2,000 human ships were coming home to a galaxy that had forgotten them. The Federation was about to learn that some legends never died. They just waited for the right moment to return. Fleet Commander Zalvex had never seen anything like it. The Cronin warrior stood 8 feet tall and had fought in 17 major battles during his long career. But the readings on his screen made his 4 hearts beat faster with worry. "How many ships?" he asked his sensor operator. "Over 2,000, sir. They appeared at the edge of our detection range 12 hours ago. Energy signatures don't match anything in our databases." Zalvex walked across the bridge of his command ship, the Starfire. Round his vessel, the largest military fleet in Federation history was gathering. 15,000 ships from dozens of different worlds were moving toward the coordinates, where the unknown vessels had been spotted. "Sir," called his communications officer, a nervous young Centauri named Pelchix. "General Mokrell wants to speak with you." The image of the Federation's top military commander appeared on the main screen. General Mokrell was a Vorthok like Ambassador Crix, but where Crix was a diplomat, Mokrell was a warrior. His three eyes glowed red with anger. Commander Zeldax, what is your assessment of this threat? Unknown, General. Ships are large and well organized. They're holding position just outside the dead zone. Whoever they are, they have technology we haven't seen before. Could they be from another galaxy? Perhaps an invasion force? Zaldek studied his readings again. Possible, sir. But their formation patterns are unusual. Most invasion fleets spread out to cover more space. These ships are staying close together, almost like they're protecting something in the center. On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Jake Sullivan was having his own meeting. The bridge of the U.S. Defiance hummed with quiet activity as human officers prepared for the most important moment in their species' history. Federation fleet approaching from multiple directions, reported Lieutenant Commander Don Roberts from the sensor station. Looks like they're taking this seriously. How many ships? Jake asked. Computer estimates 15,000, sir. They've got everything from small patrol boats to massive dreadnoughts. Some of those alien ships are bigger than anything we've ever built. Admiral Carter studied the tactical display. They're scared. Good fear will make them listen instead of just shooting. Commander Amy Foster checked her diplomatic equipment one more time. She would be leading the first official contact between humans and the Federation. Her ship, the UES Pioneer, was loaded with translation devices, cultural exchange materials, and proof of humanity's identity. Amy, remember the protocols, Admiral? Carter said, be polite but firm. Show them we're not aggressive, but don't let them think we're weak either. Admiral, what if they don't believe we're really human? Jake smiled. Then we'll have to prove it to them. The first contact happened near the binary star system of Kepler 442. A Federation patrol of 6 ships encountered the Pioneer as it moved away from the main human fleet. Commander Foster watched her screens as the alien vessels surrounded her. Ship. Unknown vessel. Came a transmission in Galactic Standard. You are in Federation space. Identify yourself immediately, or prepare to be boarded. Foster activated her own communications system. She had practiced this moment for years. This is Commander Amy Foster of the United Earthship Pioneer. We represent humanity and the planet Earth. We come in peace and request dialogue with Federation leadership. Silence followed. Foster could almost feel the confusion from the alien ships. Finally, a new voice spoke. It was older and more authoritative than the first. This is Commander Velzan of the Federation vessel Starweaver. Did you say humanity? As in the mythical humans from the old stories. So, not mythical, Commander. We are very real. We have traveled far to make contact with the Galactic Federation. Impossible. Humans are legends. Children's stories. Whoever you are, you're not fooling anyone with this trick. Foster looked at her crew. They were all experienced humans who had trained for this moment. Commander Velzan, we understand this is surprising. We have extensive proof of our identity. We know you have ancient records that mention our species. Those are myths and fairy tales. No species could have the abilities described in those old books. Would you like us to demonstrate those abilities? Another long silence followed. Foster could imagine the alien commander talking with his officers, trying to decide what to do. Finally, Velzan spoke again. It's very well. We will escort you to a neutral location. But if this is some kind of elaborate hoax, there will be consequences. Understood, Commander. We welcome the chance to prove our identity. Back on Zentari Prime, Dr. Elena Rodriguez was having her own problems. She sat in her laboratory with her research partner, a curious young Zentari named Kilnam. For months, Kilnam had been asking questions about Elena's work that made her nervous. Elena, I've been studying your research methods, Kilnam said, looking at data files on his screen. You approach problems differently than other Zentari. Scientists, your solutions are more creative, more unusual. I just think outside normal patterns, Elena replied, trying to sound casual. But some of your ideas remind me of the old human stories. You know, the legends about their problem-solving abilities and adaptability. Elena's heart started beating faster. That's just coincidence, Kilnam. Those stories aren't real. Are you sure? Yesterday I watched you fix the broken environmental system using parts from 3 different machines. The repair manual said it was impossible to combine those components. but you made it work anyway. Before Alina could answer, an emergency alert flashed on their laboratory screens. The Federation emergency broadcast system was activating for the first time in over 50 years. Chancellor Durchex appeared on every screen across the Federation. The elderly Zentari leader looked tired and worried. Citizens of the Federation, we face an unprecedented situation. Unknown vessels have appeared at our borders, claiming to represent a species called humanity. Alina tried to look surprised, but Kilnam was watching her carefully. These beings claim to be the humans from our ancient legends, the Chancellor continued. While this seems impossible, we are taking the situation seriously. All Federation military forces are on high alert. We will investigate these claims thoroughly. When the broadcast ended, Kilnam turned to Alina. What do you think? Could the stories really be true? I don't know, Alina lied. It seems pretty unlikely. But Kilnam was studying her face with the careful attention that had made him a good researcher. Alina, there's something I need to tell you. I've been comparing your genetic samples with our database. There are some unusual markers in your DNA. Alina felt cold despite the warm laboratory air. What kind of markers? Unknown proteins? Unusual cellular structures? Your DNA doesn't quite match standard Zentari patterns. Kilnam paused. Alina, are you really who you say you are? Before Alina could answer, her hidden communicator buzzed with an emergency signal. Jake was trying to reach her. The first contact was happening, and her cover might be blown at the worst possible time. Meanwhile, in the Kepler 442 system, Commander Foster's ship had arrived at the meeting point. A dozen Federation vessels surrounded the Pioneer, their weapons powered, but not aimed. Foster could see the massive alien ships on her view screen. They were beautiful in their own way. Built by species that had mastered space travel long before humans left their own solar system. Commander Foster, came Velzon's voice over the communication system. We have reported your claims to Federation Command. They are sending experts to evaluate your evidence. Ready to provide whatever proof you need, Commander. Good. Because if you really are human, then everything we thought we knew about the galaxy is wrong. And if you're lying to us, you've just made the biggest mistake in your species' history. Foster looked at her tactical officer, Lieutenant Sam Brooks. He was a former Earth Marine who had volunteered for the most dangerous mission in human history. What do you think, Sam? Are they going to shoot us or listen to us? Hard to say, Commander. But either way, we're about to find out if humans are as legendary as the stories claim. In the distance, the rest of the human fleet waited. 2,000 ships carrying the hopes and fears of an entire world. They had come home to a galaxy that had forgotten them. Now they would discover if the Federation was ready to remember that some myths were actually memories of the truth. The asteroid field of the Zarian system had been chosen as the testing ground. Massive rocks floated in space around a dying red star, creating a natural arena for the most important demonstration in galactic history. Ships from every major Federation species gathered to watch what they expected would be the exposure of an elaborate lie. Dr. Yixbal stood on the observation deck of the Federation science vessel Deep Thought. The Cronin scientist had brought every piece of monitoring equipment he could find. If these so-called humans were using tricks or technology to fake their abilities, he would discover it. Begin recording all sensor data, he ordered his team. I want readings on everything. Life signs, energy outputs, environmental conditions. When we prove these creatures are frauds, I want complete evidence. Admiral Carter watched the same scene from the bridge of the UES Defiance. She had brought Earth's best people for this demonstration. Each volunteer knew they were not just representing themselves, but all of humanity. Are you sure about this, Lisa? Captain Jake Sullivan asked quietly. Some of these tests could kill our people if something goes wrong. They have to see what we can do, Jake. The Federation has spent 3,000 years believing we're impossible. Words won't convince them. Only proof will work. The first test was survival in extreme environments. Dr. Alex Turner had volunteered for the most dangerous demonstration. The human biologist stood in the airlock of his ship, wearing only a basic environmental suit that would keep other species alive for maybe 10 minutes in space. Federation observers, this is Dr. Turner, he said into his communicator. I'm going to spend 6 hours in the vacuum of space performing maintenance work on our ship's hull. Please monitor my vital signs. And confirm I'm using no special technology beyond standard safety equipment. Commander Velzon watched from his ship with growing nervousness. 6 hours? That's impossible. Even our best engineers can only work in space for 30 minutes before they need pressurized rest breaks. Dr. Turner stepped out of the airlock and began his work. The Federation sensors tracked every movement, every breath, every heartbeat. Hour after hour, the human continued working while alien observers waited for him to collapse or die. His body temperature is stable, reported. A Zentari medical officer. Heart rate slightly elevated but within safe ranges. Oxygen consumption is lower than our computer models predicted. After 6 hours, Dr. Turner returned to his ship. But the test wasn't over. The second part involved temperature extremes. Federation engineers had prepared chambers that ranged from Arctic cold to desert heat, conditions that would kill most aliens within minutes. Turner spent 2 hours in freezing cold that would have turned Vorthok blood to ice. Then he moved to heat that would have cooked Chronon flesh. Throughout both tests, he remained calm and continued working on complex scientific calculations. Dr. Yixpal stared at his readings in disbelief. The temperature sensors must be wrong. No biological creature can survive those conditions. Sir, his assistant said nervously, I've checked the sensors 3 times. They're working perfectly. The human is actually doing what the old stories claimed. The second test focused on the legendary human ability of persistence hunting. Lieutenant Sam Brooks had volunteered for this demonstration. The former Earth Marines stood at the starting line of a course that stretched across multiple asteroids. Federation. Observers, Sam announced, I'm going to track and pursue a target across this asteroid field. The course is 50 kilometers long and includes difficult terrain. Please note that I'm carrying no vehicles, no technology assistance, and no performance enhancing drugs. The Federation had prepared their own challenge. A robotic target would move through the course using the best evasion patterns their computers could design. It would change direction randomly, hide in caves, and use every trick their military experts knew. Begin, ordered Commander VEL-Zon.Sam. Started running. Not the desperate sprint that most species used when chasing prey, but the steady, round-eating pace that humans had used to hunt mammoth on Earth. Hour after hour, he followed the target's trail across rocks and through narrow passages. Federation observers followed in vehicles, amazed at what they were seeing. His speed isn't impressive, noted General Mokrel. Many species can run faster. But look, at his endurance, replied Dr. Yixpal. He's been running for 4 hours without stopping. His breathing is steady. His pace hasn't changed. This is exactly what the old legends described. After 8 hours, Sam caught the robotic target. But more importantly, for the watching aliens, he wasn't exhausted. He could have continued for hours more if needed. Impossible, muttered Commander Velzon. Our computer models say that hunting method wastes too much energy. It should never work. Your computer models? Sam replied with a tired smile. Don't understand human determination? The third test was the most complex. Engineer Kate Miller faced a table covered with broken technology from 6 different alien species. Each piece used completely different scientific principles. The components were designed to be incompatible with each other. Your challenge, explained Dr. Yixpal, is to create a functional device using only these broken parts. Our best engineers have tried this test. All of them failed because the technologies cannot work together. Examine the alien equipment. There was a Zentari power cell that used crystalline energy storage, Cronin computer processor that worked through biological neural networks, Vorthok sensors that detected subspace fluctuations. Each piece was sophisticated, but they operated on completely different physical laws. How long do I have? Kate asked. Take as much time as you need, but understand that this task is impossible. We designed it to prove that no species can solve. Every problem? Kate began working. She didn't try to make the technologies work the way their creators intended. Instead, she looked for unexpected connections between different systems. She used the Zentari power cell to energize the Cronin neural network, then fed the resulting bioelectrical patterns into the Vorthok sensors. The watching aliens murmured among themselves. "She's doing it wrong," said one Zentari engineer. "Components will overload each other," but Kate kept working. She connected systems that had never been designed to work together. She used Cronin biotechnology to translate Zentari energy patterns into signals the Vorthok sensors could understand. After 12 hours, she stepped back from her creation. The hybrid device looked like nothing any alien had ever seen. It combined technologies in ways that violated every engineering principle the Federation knew. "I'm finished," Kate announced. Dr. Yixpal examined the device with his scanners. "This should not work. The power flows are all wrong. The energy patterns don't match. You've created an impossible machine. Would you like me to demonstrate?" Kate asked. She activated the device. Immediately, it began providing detailed sensor readings about every ship in the asteroid field. It was tracking life signs, analyzing hull compositions, and monitoring energy outputs with accuracy that exceeded any Federation sensor array. "How?" Dr. Yixpal whispered. "Humans think differently," Kate explained. "We don't just follow rules. We look for new ways to combine old ideas. Sometimes the impossible becomes possible if you approach it from the right angle." Back on Zentari Prime, Dr. Alina Rodriguez watched the demonstrations through classified military channels. Her research partner Kilnam sat beside her, his golden eyes wide with amazement. "Alina," he said quietly, "those are exactly the abilities described in the ancient texts. The endurance, the adaptability, the creative problem-solving. The humans are real." Alina tried to look surprised. "It's incredible. Federation has been wrong about them for 3,000 years. But Kilnam was studying her face again. "You don't seem shocked enough. Most Centauri would be terrified right now. We're watching creatures from our mythology prove they're real. But you look proud." Before Alina could answer, her hidden communicator buzzed. Jake was sending an urgent message. The final test was about to begin, and it would be the most shocking revelation of all. Alina, Kilnam said softly, "I need to ask you something directly. Are you human?" Alina looked at her friend, knowing that her secret was finally out. The demonstrations in space had convinced the Federation that humans were real. Now she had to decide whether to trust an alien with the truth about her identity. "Yes," she said simply. "I am." Kilnam stared at her for a long moment. Then he smiled. "I thought so. No Zentari could have fooled me for 2 years about being Zentari. But a human with legendary adaptability? That makes perfect sense. Are you going to report me?" "No," Kilnam said. "I want to help. The galaxy is about to change forever, and I want to be part of that change." In space, the Federation observers were preparing for the final test. They had seen humans survive impossible conditions, demonstrate incredible endurance, and solve unsolvable problems. But the last demonstration would challenge everything they thought they knew about the nature of life itself. Admiral Carter received the signal from Alina. Her undercover agent was safe, and had even gained an alien ally. It was time for the final proof that humans were everything the ancient legends claimed them to be. The final test arena was unlike anything the Federation had ever built. Inside a massive space station, they had created a hunting ground filled with the galaxy's most dangerous predators. 3 creatures that had killed thousands of aliens over the centuries now paced behind energy barriers. Waiting for their next victim, Dr. Yixpal stood in the observation chamber with other Federation scientists. His hands shook as he checked his recording equipment one more time. "Are we really going to let a human enter that death trap?" The human volunteered, replied General Malcraw. "If they want to prove their species can pack bond with predators, let them try. When this creature kills their representative, it will end this charade once and for all." Commander Dan Roberts stood outside the arena entrance, studying the 3 monsters through the transparent walls. The first was a Zentari Deathstalker, a creature that looked like a giant spider with razor-sharp claws and venom that could kill in seconds. The second was a Cronin Razor Beast, built like a tank with armor plating and teeth designed to crush metal. The third was a Vorthok mindhunter, a predator that could read thoughts and predict its prey's movements. "You don't have to do this, Dan," Admiral Carter said through his communicator. "We've already proven enough." "No, Admiral. This is the test that matters most. If we can't show them what pack bonding really means, they'll never understand what makes humans special." Don had been Earth's top xenobiologist before joining the space fleet. He had worked with dangerous animals on dozens of worlds. But more importantly, he understood something the Federation had forgotten. Every creature, no matter how deadly, was still a living being with needs and fears. Opening arena entrance announced the station computer. "Warning, the creatures inside this chamber have killed 847 sentient beings. Survival time for unarmed organic life forms averages 3.2 minutes. Dan stepped into the arena. The three predators immediately turned toward him, sensing fresh prey. The Deathstalker's 8 eyes focused on his movement. The Razor Beast lowered its armored head and prepared to charge. The Mindhunter began probing his thoughts, looking for weakness and fear. But Dan didn't run. He didn't draw a weapon. Instead, he sat down in the center of the arena and began to breathe slowly and calmly. "What is he doing?" Dr. Yixbal whispered. "The creatures are approaching. You should be fighting or fleeing." The Deathstalker reached Dan first, its claws extended for a killing strike. But instead of attacking, Dan looked directly into its multiple eyes and began making soft clicking sounds with his tongue. The noise was similar to the communication calls young Deathstalkers made to their mothers. The predator stopped, confused. Its claws remained ready to strike, but something about the human's behavior was wrong. Prey didn't make mother sounds. Prey didn't sit calmly while death approached. Don slowly extended his hand toward the creature. Not aggressively, not threateningly, but in the same way he might approach a nervous dog back on Earth. "Easy, friend. I'm not here to hurt you." The Federation observers watched in shock as the Deathstalker actually leaned forward to sniff Dan's hand. "Impossible," breathed Commander Velzon. "That creature killed my best security officer last year. It shows no mercy to any living thing." But Dan understood something the aliens missed. These weren't evil monsters. They were just animals that had been captured, caged, and used as weapons for decades. They were lonely, frightened, and angry. What they needed wasn't more fear. They needed understanding. The Razor Beast approached next, its massive claws scraping against the arena floor. This creature was built for pure destruction, with armor that could resist military weapons and strength that could crush a vehicle. But Dan noticed something the Federation had missed. The beast's size showed intelligence, and intelligence meant the ability to form relationships. "You're tired of fighting, aren't you?" Dan said softly. He began humming a low tune, something similar to the sounds mother razor beasts made to calm their young. "You just want someone to understand that you're more than a weapon." The massive predator stopped its charge and tilted its head, listening to the strange sounds. No one had ever tried to communicate with it before. For years, it had known only violence and captivity. But this small creature was offering something different. Dan slowly stood and walked toward the Razor Beast. Every instinct told the watching aliens that he was about to die. But instead of attacking, the massive creature lowered its head and allowed Dan to place his hand on its armored snout. "How is this possible?" General Mokrol demanded. "Our weapons specialists say that beast is pure killing machine. It has no capacity for friendship or trust." The third predator, the Mindhunter, was the most dangerous of all. It could read thoughts and emotions, using that knowledge to drive its prey insane with fear before killing them. But when it probed Dan's mind, it found something unexpected. Dan wasn't afraid. He was sad. Sad for creatures that had been turned into monsters. Sad for aliens who had forgotten that every living thing deserved respect. And most surprisingly, felt sympathy for the Mindhunter itself. The predator had never encountered prey that felt sorry for it. In Dan's thoughts, it saw memories of humans caring for injured animals, protecting endangered species, and forming friendships with creatures that should have been enemies. It saw the deep human need to connect with other living things, even dangerous ones. For the first time in decades, the Mindhunter felt something other than hunger and rage. It felt curiosity. Don sat down again, this time with all three predators. Gathered around him, began talking to them in a quiet voice, the way a human might speak to beloved pets. I know you're tired of being alone. All creatures need friendship. Even the strongest hunters need someone who understands them. Within an hour, something impossible was happening. The Deathstalker was grooming Dan's hair with its claws, carefully avoiding his skin. The Razor Beast was lying beside him like a giant guard dog. The Mindhunter was sharing its thoughts, showing Dan images of its homeworld before it was captured. Dr. Yixpal stared at his instruments in disbelief. The Predator's stress levels are dropping. Their aggression hormones are returning to normal. This human has somehow made them feel safe. But why? Asked a Zentari scientist. What evolutionary purpose could this serve? Why would a species develop the ability to befriend their enemies? Don heard the question through his communicator and smiled. Because sometimes your enemies just need someone to show them they don't have to be enemies anymore. Zentari Prime, Elena Rodriguez and Kilnam watched the demonstration with tears in their eyes. Now I understand, Kilnam whispered. Humans don't just pack bond with other creatures. They pack bond with anything that needs understanding. Even their technology, even their ships. Alina nodded. That's why our energy signatures look strange to your sensors. We don't just use our machines. We form relationships with them. Our ships respond to us because we treat them like partners, not just tools. Across the galaxy, the news of Dan's success was spreading. On dozens of worlds, aliens watched recordings of a human making friends with creatures that had terrorized them for centuries. The implications were staggering. If humans can pack bond with our most dangerous predators, one Cronin leader said, what does that mean for galactic security? What if they decide to make friends with our enemies? But other aliens saw different possibilities. What if they could help us make peace with species we've been fighting for years? Asked a young Zentari diplomat. What if pack bonding isn't a threat, but a solution? Admiral Carter received reports from across the Federation. Some species were terrified of humanity's abilities. Others were amazed and wanted to learn more. The galaxy was dividing into those who saw humans as a danger and those who saw them as a hope for peace. The demonstrations are complete, she announced to Captain Jake Sullivan. It's time for the final revelation. Every human agent, every hidden operative, every scout ship we've placed across the galaxy. It's time to show them that we've been here all along. You sure, Admiral? Once we reveal how deep our infiltration goes, there's no going back. Jake, they've seen what individual humans can do. Now they need to see what humanity as a whole has accomplished. It's time to show the Federation that Earthlings aren't just returning to the galaxy. We never really left. In the arena, Dan Roberts stood up and walked toward the exit. Behind him, 3 of the galaxy's most feared predators watched sadly as their new friend prepared to leave. The Deathstalker made soft clicking sounds, asking him to stay. The Razor Beast whined like a lost puppy. The Mindhunter shared images of loneliness and abandonment. I have to go, Dan said gently. But you're not alone anymore. The Federation will learn to see you as more than weapons, and my people will make sure you're treated with the respect you deserve. As the arena doors closed, leaving the 3 predators together, but no longer alone, the galaxy prepared for the most shocking revelation of all. Humanity hadn't just returned from legend. They had been watching, learning, and preparing for this moment for decades. 6 months after first contact, the galaxy looked completely different. Ambassador John Hayes stood at the podium in the Great Assembly Hall on Zentari Prime, wearing the formal robes of an Earth diplomat. Round him sat representatives from 47 alien species, all listening as he addressed the reformed Galactic Federation Council. Fellow beings, John said, his voice carried by translation devices to every corner of the hall. Humanity comes not as conquerors, but as partners. We have much to learn from your civilizations, and perhaps something to offer in return. Chancellor Durkix nodded from his seat. The elderly Zentari leader had aged years in the past months, struggling to adapt to a galaxy where humans were. "Real, Ambassador Hayes. Your people have certainly changed our understanding of what's possible. But integration has not been easy for any of us." That was an understatement. The revelation that humans had been living among the Federation for decades had shocked every world. Dr. Elena Rodriguez was no longer the only human hiding in plain sight. Across the galaxy, hundreds of human agents had revealed themselves, emerging from positions in research centers, military bases, government offices. Elena now served as Director of Human-Alien Cultural Exchange, working from a beautiful office that overlooked the capital city. Her assistant and friend Kilnam had become her closest advisor, helping bridge the gap between human and alien thinking. "The economic impact alone has been staggering," Kilnam said, reviewing reports on his datapad. "Human engineers have solved 17 major technological problems that our best scientists couldn't crack. The new hybrid drive systems are 30% more efficient than anything we had before." Alina smiled as she watched construction crews through her window. Humans and aliens were working together on the new cultural exchange center, their different abilities complementing each other perfectly. Human creativity, combined with alien knowledge, was producing innovations neither species could have achieved alone. But not everyone was happy with the changes. General Mokral had submitted his resignation from the Federation military, claiming that humans were too dangerous to trust. A growing faction of species believed that humanity's abilities made them a threat to galactic stability. "They adapt too quickly," complained Dr. Yixbal during a private meeting with other concerned scientists. "In 6 months, they've changed more about our civilization than we changed in the previous century. What will the galaxy look like in 10 years? Will there be anything left of our own cultures?" The Cronin scientists' fears weren't entirely unreasonable. Human influence was spreading rapidly across Federation space. Human art was becoming popular on dozens of worlds. Human music was being adapted by alien composers. Human stories were being told in hundreds of different languages. Captain Jake Sullivan, now promoted to Admiral, understood these concerns. He met regularly with Federation military leaders, trying to ease their worries about human intentions. "We're not here to replace your cultures," he explained to a gathering of nervous officers. "We want to add to them, not subtract from them." To prove this point, Jake had established joint training programs between human and alien forces. Lieutenant Sam Brooks, the Marine who had demonstrated persistence hunting, now led mixed-species teams in tactical exercises. The results were impressive. Human endurance and creativity, combined with alien technology and specialized abilities, created military units more effective than either species could field alone. Dr. Alex Turner had similar success in the scientific community. His research station, staffed by teams of humans and aliens, was making breakthrough discoveries almost weekly. The combination of human intuition and alien analytical thinking was solving problems that had puzzled scientists for generations. "It's remarkable," Turner explained to a group of visiting researchers. "Humans look for patterns that don't fit the rules. Aliens understand why the rules exist in the first place. Together, we can find new rules that work better than the old ones." Engineer Kate Miller had become something of a celebrity in Federation space. Her ability to combine incompatible technologies had revolutionized manufacturing across dozens of worlds. Factories that had been separate for centuries were now working together, sharing techniques and improving efficiency. But the most surprising development came from Commander Dan Roberts and his work with the Predators. The 3 creatures he had befriended in the arena had become symbols of human-alien cooperation. The Deathstalker now worked with Zentari's security forces, using its natural hunting abilities to track criminals. The Razor Beast helped with construction, projects that required enormous strength. The Mindhunter assisted therapists in treating patients with psychological problems. Pack bonding isn't just about making friends, Dan explained to a conference of alien psychologists. It's about understanding that every creature has value, even if that value isn't obvious at first glance. His success had inspired other experiments. Across the galaxy, Humans were helping aliens reconnect with dangerous species they had written off as monsters. Worlds that had been at war with their own wildlife for centuries were finding peaceful solutions. However, the political situation remained complicated. While many aliens embraced human involvement, others worried about losing their independence. A resistance movement led by former General Mokrell was gaining support among species that felt threatened by rapid change. Humans are like a virus, Mokrell declared in a secret broadcast. They spread everywhere, adapt to everything, and change whatever they touch. If we don't stop them now, they'll transform the galaxy beyond recognition. Admiral Carter was aware of the growing opposition. She met with moderate Federation leaders, looking for ways to address legitimate concerns while maintaining the progress that had been made. Change is always frightening, she acknowledged, but it doesn't have to be destructive. The breakthrough came when Elena Rodriguez proposed the first joint human-alien exploration mission. The project would combine crews from multiple species to explore a previously unknown region of space. It would demonstrate that humans could work as equals rather than leaders or conquerors. Captain Amy Foster, the diplomat who had led first contact, was chosen to command the new vessel. The ship itself was a marvel of cooperation built using human engineering techniques and alien technology. It was designated the UESGFS Harmony, representing both Earth and the Galactic Federation. This mission will show the galaxy what we can accomplish together, Foster announced at the ship's launch ceremony. We're not here to replace what came before. We're here to build something new and better. The Harmony's crew included representatives from 12 different species. Engineer Kate Miller served as chief technical officer, working with alien engineers who had learned to appreciate human problem-solving methods. Dr. Turner led the science team, combining human curiosity with alien expertise. Most importantly, the mission's success proved that different species could work together as equals. Each crew member brought unique abilities to the team. Humans provided creativity and adaptability. Zentari offered analytical thinking and technological expertise. Cronins contributed strength and endurance. Warthak shared their strategic planning abilities. The first major discovery came just weeks into the mission. The Harmony found evidence of another ancient species mentioned in both human and alien legends. The ruins they discovered suggested that the galaxy had once been home to civilizations that were even older and more mysterious than anyone had imagined. It looks like humans weren't the only mythical species that might be real, Kate reported back to Federation headquarters. These ruins match descriptions in our oldest stories. We might have found evidence of the Star Builders themselves. Discovery changed everything. If one legendary species had proven to be real, others might be as well. The galaxy suddenly seemed much larger and more mysterious than anyone had thought. On Zentari Prime, Lena Rodriguez watched the news reports with Kilnam. Her friend had become one of the most vocal supporters of human-alien cooperation, helping other aliens understand. That change didn't have to mean loss. A year ago, we thought humans were children's stories, Kilnam said with wonder. Now, we're working together to discover civilizations that are older than any of us imagined. Elena smiled as she watched alien children playing in the park outside her office. Human and alien youngsters were running around together, teaching each other games and sharing stories. The human children were learning alien languages while alien kids discovered human creativity and imagination. The myths always said that humans were bridge builders, Elena said. Maybe that's our real purpose in the galaxy. Not to conquer or to rule, but to help everyone else discover what they can become when they work together. In the distance, the Harmony disappeared into hyperspace, carrying its mixed crew toward whatever mysteries waited in the unknown regions of space. Behind them, they left a galaxy that was learning to see differences as strengths rather than threats. The Age of Legends was over. The Age of Cooperation had begun. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, new myths were waiting to become reality.